this is Jody with Get Your Face Out There on Air. It's a pleasure having you here today. And in the studio, I have Ivan Hunt, and he is from IFH Couples Coach. And he's very happy to be here. And I'm very happy that you came.
Thank you.
How are you? How are you this morning?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Excellent.
So let's start with, how did you decide to become a coach?
I decided to become a coach almost by happenstance. I went through a period of my life where I was in corporate America. I just got fed up with the politics of corporate America. I was working with a friend of mine by the name Dr. Delvina Thomas, who's a psychiatrist, and she knew I was ready for a transition and a change. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned life coaching, and I didn't know what it was.
Right.
So I did my research, but it resonated with me right away, and here I am, and
here he is, and loving it.
Loving it, absolutely.
All right, and probably helped you in your personal life too, right?
Yes, very much so. It raised my awareness of how I present myself, mm-hmm. and how I handle stress, right. and my reactions. So by raising my level of awareness and my
right.
consciousness to my own inner workings really has had a tremendous impact on my relationships with my wife, my kids, and my family.
And and I know in the green room we talked about your wife, and she did play a big role in your epiphany and helping others and wanting
yes.
to help others. And you
yes.
know, with trials and tribulations that we all have, you're able to convey that to others and empathize with others and kind of steer them in the right direction.
Correct.
And when you help couples, do you help men? Do you help women? Where's your forte as you see it? Is it mostly like couples and men, or one or the other?
I work with couples, but my real niche is kind of hidden a little bit and my niche is men, and working with men dealing with social expectations and the implications of social expectations. If you look at some statistics, men have a tendency to commit suicide at a 3.5 times greater rate than women do.
I didn't know
Men
that.
experience heart attacks 7 to 8 years sooner than women do.
That's
they
true.
experience strokes 4 years sooner than women do. That men have a tendency to have more substance abuse problems, and women that have substance abuse problems, ironically enough, tend to start as a result of the person that they're with.
Women are more inclined to open up a book and talk about their
Correct.
issues, where men
Correct.
don't.
Correct.
Okay, so
That
I
man
guess
code.
that's that fine line.
Right.
And as far as heart attacks, it's probably they probably need to talk more,
Correct.
get out more, and maybe they're embarrassed, or I guess they just feel like they've failed. Mm-hmm. It's really sad to hear that there is that much suicide. I can
Yeah.
see the addiction coming into play.
Right.
So women have more of a tendency to talk,
Right.
read, and really voice their opinion and get their frustrations and feelings out, whereas men don't. Is there
Correct.
some reason behind that, you think, after being in the industry?
Absolutely. There's men have this guy code or a man code. We're taught at a very young age really two socially acceptable forms of expression, and that is anger and lust. Whereas typically women are taught the whole spectrum of emotions, and with the exception of anger and lust, because then there's a social stigma of a woman being angry or a woman being lustful or a man being too sensitive. So having experienced sports and played and been successful at sports and been kind of around that you got to win
Mm-hmm.
mentality, being in the military, it's a do or die situation.
You feel like you're judged more as a man? If you're sad, if you're looked at as weak, as
Yes.
women, if you're tough and you're
Yes.
strong, you're a B word.
Right. Absolutely.
And you're
Absolutely.
trying to just be assertive and fit in, because it is a man's world, and that's
But it would
how
be
the
nothing
world
without
looks
a
at.
woman, right?
That's right. Behind every great man is a wonderful woman. I agree. I agree. So when the men come in and they're feeling challenged, like, how do you help them address certain things? Are there 5 tips that you offer?
Through my coaching program, we were introduced to what we call an Energy Leadership Index assessment, which allows me to give an assessment, and it's more attitudinal versus personality. It's not a personality test, but it raises the awareness of that man on how he feels in certain situations. And what I do as a coach is I offer a man a safe space to just be, and to let them realize and understand that it's okay to feel certain emotions and allow them to pass through you. You know, if it's joy, if it's happiness. Men even struggle with living in peace.
Right.
Even and to just understand that, you know, it's okay to live in peace, and it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be stressed, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be angry. But what's not okay is the state of mind and the state of being and staying that way. And that's the part that I've seen where men have challenged or have those challenges the most, is
So they get in
moving
a rut
past.
and they
Correct.
can't they can't move on. Like women, they talk, they read, they
Correct.
move on, and they adjust a lot quicker than men. I
Correct.
have seen that as when there's a relationship, they break up, or a
Correct.
death in the family. They actually have a much harder time because they haven't learned the coping skills, or just recognizing what they're going through. They kind of like dull it out through drugs and alcohol rather
Absolutely.
than going through it. You can't go above it,
Correct.
below it, around it. You have to go through it.
Correct.
So you teach them those skills.
Correct.
That's great.
And one of the things I think that helps me connect with my clients even more is, you know, I've had substance abuse problems.
So you can
I've
relate.
dealt with those things before. I've dealt with all the issues that we have now going on about sexual harassment. You know, I've been promiscuous in my life and made those mistakes. I've dealt with mood disorders. You know, women typically are diagnosed with depression at twice the rate of men, but in reality, men don't go
Oh,
to
that's
get
true.
diagnosed.
Right.
You know, so I've dealt with ADHD, bipolar, borderline personality disorder. You know, I've done a lot of things in my life that has really helped me understand the challenges that we face as men, but more importantly, the impact that it has on our wives, that it has on our kids. I want to be around for as long as possible for my wife and for my kids. I don't want to die 8 years before she does and have her live her life 8 years without me. Maybe that's selfish, but that's how I kind of look at it. So
No, I think that's fair, and vice versa. I'm sure she wants you to be around
I hope
just
so.
as long. She does.
I hope so.
She does. So so the men come in, what would you say the number one issue is? Are they struggling with really like jobs, life, women, relationships?
It's really more internal. You know, the term is kind of hegemonic masculinity. Right?
Okay.
And what that means is men just have this guard up all the time. And it's the biggest issue is their ability to be vulnerable, not just to other people, but to themselves. And I think that's the part that has allowed me to touch and reach men in that sense, is that I'm not scared to be vulnerable and or transparent about my life. So I'm able
That's
to connect
attractive
with
to
them.
women. Because we're caregivers and we want to help. You know, we want to be there for, you know,
Right.
the person that we care for, and we don't want anybody to struggle. And, you know, I guess you have to teach them that skill to open up in
Correct.
order to make the next move.
Correct.
And then there will be harmony between the couples, you know.
Absolutely.
So
And
I think-
that's one of the things that, you know, from my training from IPEC, and being a master practitioner of this assessment and being able to give this assessment and work through the assessment and allow them to see and, again, raise their level of awareness and consciousness of
So
how
when you
they're
say
reacting.
awareness and conscience, that's all the feelings that they're going through, and just approaching it and just taking it head on.
Correct.
Okay, I'm feeling sad. Okay, I'm in this moment. What
Correct.
should I do? Let me
Correct.
dissect it. Let me get to the root of it.
Correct.
Let me stay in a peaceful state and try to analytically figure it out. What's deriving this feeling?
Correct. And what helps men with this assessment is the fact that it's visual. You know, it's something that's tangible, it's visual, that they can see. Whereas it just makes it more visual for them by reading the assessments. Okay, here's how I'm responding to stress. Am I reacting in a passive aggressive manner, or am I being appropriate? Am I responding appropriate for the situation?
Right,
And
right.
I just think it's really powerful. One of my beliefs is, as the man goes, so does the family. And I think it's very important in this day and age that the man kind of gets himself together a little bit more and realize this new reality
That's true,
You
because
know,
a
that's
woman
taking
wants to
place.
feel like their man is secure within themselves,
Correct.
even if they're not completely, but at least wing it so they feel
Absolutely.
like everything is going to be okay.
Right.
You know, and really 9 times out of 10, everything does turn around. Nothing remains the same, and tomorrow's a new day.
But you made an interesting point, if I can interject.
Sure.
So you said so the woman can feel that she's okay. One of the biggest things that men fail to do is also to express their needs and wants within a relationship, and that's where that taboo of the man code comes into play.
Okay.
So we're taught that okay, we got to do all these things to make sure she's okay, and all the while we're going to suppress all our wants and needs.
Yeah, that's bad.
And that part doesn't get communicated, and men struggle with communicating. Hey, look, I need reassurance too. I need to know that you still love me and accept me too. That
agree.
I do have flaws, that I do have these crazy thoughts sometimes that go on in my head. Are you going to judge me
And
for
that's
it?
normal. And that's normal.
Correct.
And that's great. And just making people aware of that and breaking the barriers down and opening the communication lines between them will make all the difference in the world.
Yes.
So if you're having some issues or just want to talk or vent to somebody and you need a man, it's a great coach, give him a call. What's the best way people can get a hold of you?
You can email me at ivanhunt@ifh-solutions.com. You can find me on the web at ifhcouplescoach.com, or you could call me at 305-354-6908.
Super. It was
Outstanding.
great having you here.
Thank
Until
you.
next time, everyone, take care of yourself. There's only one you. Bye.